Through the lens, a photographer's powerful pictures cover the conflict in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Then, tracking football spirit, Nkapila Mabuse catches up with a World Cup legend, spreading excitement across South Africa. And David McKenzie introducing us to a modest Angolan football squad and looking at the passion behind their play. All of that and more this week on Inside Africa. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Inside Africa. I'm Jim Clancy, in for Aisha Sisse. The Democratic Republic of Congo has been embroiled in bloody conflict for more than a decade. The violence has killed millions, displaced hundreds of thousands of others. Photographer Peter Biro turned his lens on the realities of the DR Congo late last year, and he hopes his photos will, in one way or another, shed light on one of the world's worst humanitarian crises. He shared with us some of his pictures and the stories that go with them.
I think what's interesting is that people are often saying, if you visit a camp or you're in a place where you see people that go through these terrible things, it's that they want to talk to you. They often come up and say, are you a photographer? Are you a journalist? Are you, can you bring our story to the world? Being photographed is also a moment of, an opportunity to tell the story. I work for an aid organization called the International Rescue Committee, and we provide humanitarian assistance to displaced people and refugees around the world. Congo is a country where we have worked since 1996, providing aid across the country. It's one of the most urgent humanitarian crisis right now, with a massive death toll, with rampant poverty, and a war that's been allowed to continue for a very long time, in particularly the eastern part of the country. At the moment, it's estimated that 1.8 million people live in camps, are displaced, are forced to flee their homes, are living in the bush, or forced to live in these large displacement camps. This photo here shows how people that are typically living in these camps. It's the very rudimentary structures made from straw, grass, ripped up pieces of cloth, tree branches, things that they find in the surrounding forest. This woman is standing outside her shelter, which is basically made out of plastic bags, and this particular woman, she was living there with her daughter, her daughter's husband, and their children. So you're talking about maybe 6 people living in a 3 by 3 meter structure. Now this man I met in another camp called Muhanga, and his name is Peter Kurama, and he invited me into his hut, and he said, I want to show you how I live. So I took this photo as he was sitting down in his hut, and next to him was the only possession that he managed to get to take with him as he was fleeing, and that was his beat-up black cooking pot, basically. This boy I met on the outskirts of the camp, and he's basically he's gathering firewood to contribute to the family income. Now the displaced people are not they're unable to grow crops in the camp or outside the camp, or very, very little. So they need money. They basically need to have some sort of avenue to make some small money to buy additional food. And this boy told me that by collecting firewood and selling it in the local market, he gets about 2,000 Congolese francs every week. That's about $3 a week. Now this photo is of a woman that I met in one of these camps called Mungote. 30,000 people are living in crowded conditions, unsanitary conditions in this place in North Kivu province. And this woman is called Ruti, and she had arrived only 3 days earlier after fleeing her village. And Ruti told me that she and her family have been forced to flee every 2 months, basically, over the past few years. And every time they return to their home, they have to build a new house because it's been torched. She was angry. I think that shows in the photo. She, mixed with a level of resignation. She was sort of shrugging her shoulders. She was, I can't believe this is happening again, And at the same time, she has these horrific tales about seeing people being shot, It would be deeply traumatic for anyone. And who knows how many times you've seen that, It becomes almost part of normal life. Now, this is a shot from inside a school. As I said, many people in Congo have been displaced for many, many years. And as a result, these schools are springing up, on the outskirts of the camps. One teacher in one of these schools told me that the children, especially the older ones, have trouble concentrating. I mean, they've been uprooted so many times, they've seen so many bad things happening to their families, that they're basically traumatized, she said. Their ability to learn is sometimes hampered by their memories and what they've gone through. This is a scene from within a classroom. You see that this is a classroom that hasn't yet been renovated, so you see the mud brick walls, the very basic structures. The classrooms are filled with kids eager to learn. The adults say that our lives might be ruined by this conflict and this constant moving, but at least we can try to provide an education for our children so they can have a future. In a small way, I hope that this contributes a little bit to people's understanding of daily life in Eastern Congo right now. And I hope it connects with the audience, and that people see that these are regular people that are trying to go on with their lives, but they're constantly interrupted by this senseless conflict.
Thanks again to Peter Biro for sharing those photos with us. Inside Africa returns in just a moment.